All right, hey, I just wanted to check in because I read two books actually. They are both out of the Bachman books collection here by Stephen King, uh, and that is The Running Man and Roadwork. Before I get started too much, I just want to apologize ahead of time if I sound a little off. I've been sick the last few days, which is actually why I haven't posted this review. I finished both of these books a couple days ago and just haven't felt good enough to record. My voice is finally kind of back enough to be able to at least talk, so here we are. Now, I read The Running Man first, so I'll talk about that one first. Again, for this review, I don't have any notes taken, so it's just gonna kind of be off the top of my head, which I kind of have sick brain, so I apologize ahead of time if I get some of the stuff incorrect. But The Running Man, which I will hold up here for a moment here. The Running Man is set actually in 2025, even though it was written in like the 70s, which is kind of interesting. And it is about a man who is low income. There's a lot of low income people who are willing to take a risk of going on these game shows that pay well, but they can do a lot of harm to you and sometimes even death. In the case of The Running Man, our main character gets the biggest show essentially that there is, which is having all of these assassins essentially track you down, trying to kill you. You have to survive a certain amount of time, a certain amount of days. I can't remember exactly what it was, how many days it was. It might be 30 days, something like that. But if you survive, you get a huge payout. And the reason that he's willing to do it is that he has a sick daughter at home with his wife, and so he has a huge amount of motivation to go ahead and just go through with doing this. Now, he didn't know that he was going to get the big show, the Running Man game or whatever you may call it, but they do a series of tests, like intellectual tests, physical tests, emotional tests. They test all of the potential contestants that are going into this system, if you'll call it, that are all low-income people that are kind of just to entertain the rich. After those tests, that's how they kind of determine what show you're going to be on. So if people in the street spot him, they can kill him for a reward or turn him in for a reward. There's constantly something happening in this book, and I really enjoy it. It's not very long either, but I really enjoyed it. It was full of action. There's a lot of kind of mind games that he was playing with one of the lead like headhunters essentially. He had a lot of angst and hatred towards the system, which I think a lot of people can just kind of relate to in general. I know I can. And there's a lot of interesting characters he meets that are willing to help him sometimes, and a couple are not willing to help him. But it's a lot of psychological mind games and a lot of running, a lot of hiding. It's a lot of fun, in my opinion. There's actually, I think, a movie coming out later this year. Maybe next year, I can't remember now. But I know there was also one, I think, that came out in like the 80s or something. I never saw it, though. But overall, I really enjoyed The Running Man. I thought it was well worth my time reading. And I thought that that was going to kind of be the highlight between the two books that I read, Roadwork and The Running Man, but I actually really enjoyed Roadwork way more than I anticipated. And maybe it's because I went in with lower expectations, but I enjoyed the hell out of Roadwork. So Roadwork is about a man who lives with his wife. They've had a son that at one point had died in the past, and they both are kind of still dealing with the trauma of that. And this man is sort of schizophrenic. He has like multiple personalities kind of talking in his head at any given point. And so just about anything feels like it could push him over the edge, and something does. The city is buying out his house so that they can build a highway going through it. They're buying out kind of this whole neighborhood, and him and his wife are the last people on the street essentially to have left. Our main character also works at a laundromat where he is in charge of striking up a new deal to buy a new factory, because that highway is also running through the factory that they currently work out of. And so it kind of feels like everything's falling apart around him. His job is going to be demolished. He's going to have to move somewhere else. It's just a lot of bad things. And this book actually opens up with him going and purchasing a large weapon. So you can tell the mindset he's in right out the get-go. And what I really enjoyed about this book is it really was mostly just character work throughout it. There's things that happen, definitely big events that happen, especially towards the end of the book, but most of it is just focused on the turmoil between him and his wife, and another relationship he forms with another young woman, and the relationship between him and his coworkers and boss, and a mob boss he gets involved with. There's a lot of interesting characters here, and I really enjoyed all of the different dynamics that they brought into the story, and especially just the look inside of this man's mind throughout the book, and how he's just kind of going progressively more and more crazy. Very interesting. And yeah, like I said, I just loved the character interactions in it, and it's honestly probably tied with The Long Walk for me, which is weird to say out loud, but out of these 4 books, because there's Rage, The Long Walk, Roadwork, and The Running Man in here, I really enjoyed Roadwork and The Long Walk the most, I think, and then probably The Running Man, then Rage. But yeah, like I said, I was surprised by Roadwork, by how much it actually hooked me, and I just wanted to keep reading it just to find out where his story was going. You kind of know the ending right at the beginning, like what the plan is, but just the journey that Stephen King takes you on throughout that story is really something. I really enjoyed it a lot. So there we go. There's those 2 books, and I've actually finished the Bachman books off now. I think there's actually a couple more written under Richard Bachman, one of those being Thinner, which I want to pick up eventually as well. But those are kind of the 4 OGs that I have now knocked off my list. So I am very, very excited about having done that. I apologize if these 2 reviews, I guess, were a little all over the place this time. Like I said, I kind of still have sick brain. I'm still not feeling 100%, but I'm good enough to finally be able to speak, so that's why I'm here. Anyways, if you guys are able to get your hands on Bachman books, I know 3 of them are easy to get your hand on. Rage is not necessarily, which is probably fine. I loved Rage, but I know a lot of people kind of have some gripes with it. I definitely had some gripes with the way it ended, but I highly recommend trying to get your hands on this collection here. It is very well worth your time. All of the stories are very unique, and they all deal with really intense characters, and I just enjoy that about Stephen King's writing, and I think that it shines through in these books. So anyways, I appreciate y'all for sticking around, and thanks.